BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
For all of you that were waiting patiently for the video at the same time every day, I do apologise for the lateness in getting this video out, as this is typically when the second video of the day would go out on this channel. Today though, as Australia wakes up, we discuss some of the most significant announcements involving flag carrier Qantas, following yesterday's host of revelations. There is a lot to discuss, so buckle in and stay tuned. For Qantas though, the past couple of years have been the hardest that they've ever experienced. These past 24 hours for announcements far outweighs anything we've ever seen before for the airline, and dwarf that of, say, an aircraft order, primarily because it does involve the resumption of a complete network. We'll begin with the Airbus A380 with Qantas with some good news. The airline executive Alan Joyce announced that their first A380 would return this December, where it'll see the crew get familiarised once again with the operations of the type. The airline grounded its 12 A380s back when the pandemic first started, and it simply remained largely unclear whether or not they'd be bringing the type back until most recently. We were very much actually under the impression initially it would not return until 2024. This is obviously a staggering time away from the industry that left many people unclear whether or not there was actually a point for the aircraft to return, and whether or not Qantas in the future would be better off going down the line of wide-body twin-engined aircraft like your A350, 787, potentially even the 777X. They've now, though, accelerated the return date. 3 A380s will return to service by mid-November 2022, with the 5 remaining to return early 2024. There'll be 2, though, operating by the second quarter of next year, and that's really where the big news for the A380 comes into play. Qantas is also looking at bringing forward the delivery of 3 additional 787 Dreamliners that are actually currently being stored, and this would be to facilitate demand to travel internationally, which Qantas is noting is higher than domestic demand at the moment, and it's not necessarily hard to see why. Australia has been notorious for its unfair treatment of stranded Australians overseas, leaving them mostly abandoned. However, ultimately, the shut borders and exemption required to travel, with basically no guarantee of getting back in, has left many Australians frustrated and angry. Unfortunately, funerals have been missed, people have not been able to say goodbye to their loved ones and parents. Weddings and births of newborn babies have also been missed, meaning that hundreds of thousands of people that had reasonable reasons to leave were simply denied. Now, this is the news so many have been wanting for so long, but I think it would definitely be naive to say that people have forgotten totally how they've been treated, and especially how Qantas essentially shut up shop. Moving to Melbourne, my home area, the carrier has announced that they will be moving their international flights out of Melbourne forward, restarting Melbourne to London and Melbourne to Singapore, with these flights taking off on November 6th and November 22nd, respectively. These flights will only increase on December 18th, when they do intend once again to take off to Los Angeles. I'll actually be flying on the route around 10 days later, which I'm very excited about, and I'll be documenting it here on the channel. Alongside routes out of Melbourne, the airline has announced that it will be fast-tracking flights to Singapore, Fiji, Bangkok, and Johannesburg. Finally, though, we have Phuket with Jetstar. These will be all out of Sydney. The airline will also be launching from December 6th a new flight. This will be Sydney to Delhi in India, and we'll finally see the Red Kangaroo flying back into India after almost a decade missing from the country. It's big news to say the least. What are your thoughts on all the announcements? There's definitely a lot to take a look at in this video. Not only do we have news surrounding the Airbus A380, we have a massive resumption of an international network, both out of Sydney but now also out of Melbourne following new announcements. On top of that, there's talk that Qantas could look at bringing in more 787s once again at a more accelerated rate as these aircraft await delivery. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, like always. Thank you very, very much for taking the time to watch this video. I apologise for the lateness in this coming out, but I hope nevertheless you did enjoy it. Take care, and I'll see you next time.